DrTPS. Namaste. Namaste.
नमस्ते नमस्ते
हमारे दिन DrTPS महोदय आ चुके हैं.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर. सर का सेशन बहुत अच्छा होता है.
thank you. If you had sent messages, I already posted yesterday's lecture onto my YouTube. Yes.
Okay. Welcome you all in the second session. Dr. T.P. Sashi Kumar, ex-director, Academic Staff College, University of Calicut, Kerala, is here with us. Sir, a warm welcome to you again in this session. Yesterday, he has given a detailed idea about the mind management. Sir, today I request to you, please enlighten our participants on the human wellness Indian dualism thought. This is over to you, sir.
Namaste. Thank you. If a few of you after yesterday's session had sent me individual messages, thank you for all of them. And yesterday night itself I have already uploaded yesterday's lecture in two parts. One my lecture and the second one my interaction onto my YouTube. Today we are supposed to think about the philosophy, psychology aspects as part of the Indian knowledge system. How we can think very deep into the holistic well-being, the human wellness, but deep inside most of the philosophers there is a thought process of dualism, Dvaita Advaita Siddhantam. I'm sure all of you know wellness means normally what is known as health. But that is not health alone. We have got a lot of wellness parlors. It has become a beauty chain hospital sort of an activity. If you go to West, you can see a lot of, like, it's almost like a business, the wellness centers. Ayurveda contributes a lot. Yoga contributes a lot. And people say that meditation is what is wellness. I look at wellness into 5 different aspects of wellness. One is physical, and normally people talk about the second part, which is mental or emotional wellness. I deal with a lot of children, probably must have talked to more than millions of teachers, millions of students, and equal number of parents. The greatest concern for most of the people are not the physical, not the mental or emotional. It is more on intellectual. I am not able to understand this. What do I do? I am not able to concentrate on this. What do I do? This is not a physical or emotional problem. It's an intellectual problem. And once you become a part of the social activities, there is another big wellness problem, that is social wellness. It is nice to become famous, but very difficult to retain it. You can see most of the time committing suicide, mental depression, everything is because of their social dullness. Maybe sometimes they were in bright light, but sometimes they go into dark. The highest of the highest number of people who generally invest a lot of time in these days thinking that all these can be solved by a single problem called spirituality. There are two problems, or there are two methods in which you can control all this and get into a deep wellness. I keep saying either you should have spirit, alcohol, or you can have spirituality. Both are intoxicating. Right? So it's, for many people, it's running away from all these problems. That means I don't care my physical look, I don't care my social contacts, get into isolation, run away from the society, And that is what is spirituality for most of the people. But the path towards spirituality through religious activities is always satsang. It is always in a group. So these two things are always contradicting. So what is that under the umbrella? You can look at it in a panoramic view from different directions and then understand it in an entirely different style. Each of the speakers, each of the thinkers, each of the philosophers, they look at it from their own perspective. For every problem, there is a different perspective. I'm sure when you are in this world, all these are not independent entities. If I get angry, immediately I'll say, I told you 100 times. No, you didn't tell me 100 times. You only told me 2 times. Why are you saying it 100 times? That is because your intellect doesn't work when you are emotionally upset. Right? Assume this lecture is too boring. Definitely you will get a headache. Headache is a physical problem. But I am not creating a physical problem to you. What happens is, what I am speaking is not in harmony with what you are thinking. That can create headache. Assume that somebody has got a headache. You go to a Ayurvedic doctor, he will ask you which oil you are applying. And he will change the oil. Because for him, the tool is only oil, massaging and such external treatment. Assume you go to a psychologist, he will ask you what dream you have seen, what are you thinking, so many questions he will ask. You go to an ENT specialist, definitely he will ask you a lot of similar questions, right? He will look at your nose and see there is a small bend there, that is why your breathing is not perfect, that is why you have a headache. You go to an eye specialist, definitely he will provide you with a specs and tell you all your problems will be solved. But none of these are your problems. Your problem is your neighbor is creating headache for you. So, diagnosing this and understanding what is the cause is one of the biggest pathological treatment which people wanted to have for a wellness. That is why I keep saying it's a holistic approach. You cannot see problems in isolation. Most of the CBSE schools decided they should have a counseling center. I'm also a psychotherapist. I have seen a lot of people, and I conducted workshops and camps for people who are doing this counseling job. I found most of the time what they do is, a student comes and tells me that I am not able to understand mathematics. Immediately they will say, yeah, for me also mathematics was tough, because he is a psychologist. They have chosen psychology because they were not good in science sometime. And definitely they will say, being a part of the problem or sympathizing with the problem, telling that, no, I also have a similar problem is the solution for most of the problems, right? So it doesn't solve the problem. So we are not able to provide solutions if you think it in isolation. For a student, for a wellness, what is exactly required is an intellectual solution. How smart you can be in learning methods. So all the psychologists, all the philosophers throughout the world have seen this problem from different directions. What philosophers or maybe the modern people in this world who wanted to discuss this, always you can see them quoting Descartes, I think, therefore I am. That's a great quote. I think, therefore I am. That's the most famous one-liner from Descartes, and which is what is considered as the basis of dualism in philosophical positions. But we must understand this has been in our basic yoga textbooks. Hadayoga Pradipika says, Sharira Manaso Yoga Paraspara Manuvrajet Adhara Adheya Bhavena Taptajya Kadayoriva. The body and the mind is such related. If I take a burthen, a vessel, which is cold, and I put hot oil inside that, you can see the vessel also get heated up. You take cold oil and put in the vessel, definitely the vessel also will become cool. Sharira Manaso Yoga Paraspara Manuvrajet. They are related in such a fashion. Sharira Manaso Yoga Paraspara Manuvrajet Adhara Adheya Bhavena Taptajya Kadayoriva. There is nothing better than this to explain my body and the mind, the subject and the object, the cause and the effect. If you wanted to distinctly see them, it is just like a Maya. It doesn't exist. It is one and the same. Every cell has got a consciousness. If somebody beats me here, the pain is not in my brain. The pain is not in my heart. The pain is here. That means there is a consciousness in each of the cell. When I beat here, the pain is not in my brain. The pain is not in my heart. The pain is in the cell where I am getting hit. Every cell in my body has got a consciousness. Ena chakshusha pashyanti, ena chakshunshi pashyati. Upanishad says, my eye has got lot of cells and none of the cell is an eye. It doesn't have the ability to see something. But definitely when the cell is in my eyes, it is able to see things. Because more than the cell, more than the matter, there is a consciousness in my eyes which decides how I have to behave when my cell is in my eyes. When I am giving lecture, I am pretending that I am a speaker, I am a lecturer. But I am sure when I sit in my class and my master is teaching me, I become a student. So we are all playing our roles consciously. So every cell will take its action based on where it is in position. When I go to my son, I am a father. When I go to my brother or sister, I am a brother. When I go to my mother, I become a son. Everyone has got different roles. Understanding this role is not the body matter which DrTPS is. It is my role that which I play consciously, and that consciousness is what is exactly to be understood. That is what I am. Now, what is the time now? If somebody says it is 11:55, what is the time? When I ask you the time you have seen the time you are telling the time, all these are different. So tell me, will you be able to tell me the exact time? Is there a time which is called the exact? And what is that exact time? Assume that I ask you the time. You must tell me the time related to, or maybe precisely the time when I am asking. When you measure, where are you? I am in Hyderabad. This latitude and longitude, my position is exactly measured. With respect to what? With respect to a reference system. Whether that reference system is the right one or not. You use a different reference system, then your coordinate will be entirely different. So is there something which is called the space and time? Is there something called the measure? When I say how fast you are running, the distance divided by time is what is taken. The distance itself is not correct. Because if you take the whole universe, Earth itself is moving so fast, 15,000 km/h speed, say. So the Earth is revolving, Earth is rotating, Earth is moving, the Brahmandam is moving. So where is the reference? It all matters with what reference I am looking at. And there is something called the reference system which I am supposed to give you. Now I say I am inside the room. What is room for me? Assume that I am in an apartment. I am in the first floor. I am in the second floor. Tell me, am I inside the space inside the house? So what is my house? Is that house is the wall? Is the house is the window? Is the house is the door? Or house is the space within all these? So I am inside the room. The boundaries is what is defining me where I am. But is there a difference between the air within the room or air outside my room? What is that makes me to say that I am inside the room? It is only the wall. Is the wall is the house, or the space inside the wall is the house? The wall is not the house. The window is not the house. So this is only a reference frame. So we need a reference frame to define. We need a body to define my life, but body is not my life. The time I die, what happens to my body? The body will start stinking after some time. So what is life? Life is that perfume, life is that scent which gives the body not to smell bad. Now if you look at what is life, it's a very, very distinctly different questions. Is it that which makes my respiratory system to work? There can be a stop for some time. Not that every time I am not doing a Tailadhara breathing. You look at meditation, DrTPS, I am explaining what is Tailadhara breathing. The breathing is not to be holded. It has to go like a flow. So is it that when I stop my breath for a moment, I am not existing? Is it that my heart stops for some time? Is it not that I am not there? We say that person has left this world. Where did I go? Where is my life gone from this place? What is happening to my life? If that is an energy, the basic physics principle says energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So tell me what is happening to the life, force energy, which makes me to think, which makes me to act, which makes me to do all these activities. What is happening the time when my energy leaves my body? These are questions to be answered. That is where we say the life is inside my body and life is outside my body. The consciousness is inside my cell. Consciousness all together. It is not independent cell which are pasted together. Each one of them have got a neutron and electron going around it, and therefore matter is not more, actually space is more. If you look at an atom, there is a neutron and electron goes around the neutron. So if you look at whether the matter, electron, neutron, proton, everything together is more, or the space in between is more. So that means if I zoom in my hand, what you will see is not matter. More than matter, you have a space. So such a lot of space together is what is my body. So tell how this body is existing, like with a lot of disconnected matters together, molecules together, atoms together. What is the bondage which keeps it around? That is what is called life. So life is like a gum, a Fevicol which makes all my cell to act together like a body which you are seeing. Annamaya. But that Annamaya is the body, the physical body, which is packed inside a shell, which is called the Fevicol brand, which puts me, or the gum which is pasting me together, all this. And it's like a cover which is given to the whole body. And that is called the Pranamaya Kosha. So Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha. But that doesn't work. That doesn't make me to speak to you like this. I should have a mood to speak. I should have emotional balance. I must feel that I have to speak to you. You should feel that you should listen to me. Then only you are existing. Therefore, that is the Manonmaya Kosha. The Manonmaya Kosha is not enough. You don't understand what I am speaking. I can't speak if only I have a mood to speak. I should have that knowledge to speak to you. That means I should have a Vijnanamaya Kosha around me. So Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manonmaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. But that is not good enough. No Vijnanam, no knowledge can be gone into the brain. No. It has to go into the manas. It has to go into the passion. It has to become appealing. It has to become interesting. Only when I make it so much of anandam inside that, happiness inside that. And that happiness is in my smile, that happiness is in the mood, that happiness is in my eyes, that happiness is in my action, that happiness is in my tempo, that happiness is in the rhythm. That will come only when I have got Anandam inside my lecture. So the most important part is the Anandamaya Kosham. So Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manonmaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Kosham me Shuddhyandam. These have to be clean enough. Yesterday we were talking about Saptashuddhi. Pranavana Vyanodhana Samaname Shuddhyandam Jyotirham Viraja Vivatma Bhuya Sangha Swaha Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manonmaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Kosham me Shuddhyandam. This has to be clean enough. Is it only when I am in the Jagrat? There are three status. Jagrat, Sopna, Sushupti. Is it only in the Jagrat I am into the brightest world? What happens to my dream world? There is a beautiful narration of somebody who is in a deep sleep is seeing a butterfly in a garden, and next day morning the student goes to the master and says, night I had a dream in which I was a butterfly. So the master is asking the student, do you think you are this person now in reality, or are you the real butterfly? And now the way you are dealing with me as a student is the real dream. See, the whole world when we are living, we are not able to understand what is the drama which we are doing. Shakespeare also says that, no? Life is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. These are the great truths of modern life. That's what. No, we don't know whether this is what the real life or the dream is the real life. This is the duality which we have. We have a confusion. When a picture comes on a screen in a computer, a child thinks that, oh, this, my father is in the computer. My mother is in the computer. Only when it is switched off, it realizes, yeah, he has gone. That's it. The other day I was seeing a beautiful mirror in which, in an airport, a big mirror, a child is seeing his picture. And what the child does is he goes behind it and then see whether the child is there or not. Correct. So they are not able to understand whether it's the real mirror, Chaya, Maya, or the reality. You realize what is really existing, what doesn't really exist, is really a Maya. When you realize it, it becomes not the Dvaita Siddhantam, not the duality, it becomes Advaitam. So, though my title is Dvaitam, duality, when you think about a duality or you think about Dvaitam, there is a concept of Advaitam inside that. When somebody thinks about Advaitam, no two is what I am saying. That means there is a concept of Dvaitam inside the Advaitam. If somebody says there is no God, that means he has got a doubt whether there is a God or not. When somebody believes that, is it a telephone? Yeah, the question of if it's a telephone itself says there is a telephone there. But whether this is a telephone or not is only my doubt. So how should I check it? I should act on that and press some number and then see whether it is dialing, whether the internet is connected to that. Then I will say, yeah, it's working, it's a smartphone. So the first is my faith, first is my belief, then is my knowledge. So first duality, having confusion, having Maya is the basic status or the basic starting of understanding and reaching to a higher level where you realize what is Advaita. And that understanding will come when you become a realized person. Until and unless what you have, probably what you think, my emotion is me, my brain is me, I am. That is the ego people have. I am. Who are you? I am the head of the department. Will you tell your mother that I am the head of the department? You will tell your mother that I am your son, I am your daughter. That's it, right? So that designation is not what I am. But most of the people have the ego saying that I am this, I am that. I am not this, I am not that. I am something else. So realizing whom you are is what, when Shankara got that real question of who am I? You are the Brahman. You are what you are inside. Hridaya, Guhara. If Hridaya, heart, the translation may be wrong, but the emotional, the manas, inside that you open it up, you see a big cave. Inside the cave, Hridaya Guhara Madhye, inside that Kevalam Brahma Matram. There is only Brahma inside me. That creativity is what I am. Realizing, reaching, getting to that, the Advaita Siddhanta, understanding the quality of whom I am, understanding what is that is my realization, probably under a philosophical framework rooted inside the ancient Vedic textbooks, all the scriptures. When you go inside, we understand I am not entirely different from my environment. The Prakriti Purusha joined together is what I am. The consciousness of the soul, that is the Purusha, and Prakriti is the matter, the nature. Prakriti and Purusha joining together is me. The profound implications of this, understanding of this, is what is the real wellness. And you have to define. Probably you can, I reached into the ultimate definition, probably the Purusha and Prakriti. But I took you from a different path. That balance of understanding the interconnectedness between the being and where I am being. Where, what, when, how, why, this question comes to me. So sometimes I think my buddhi is me, sometimes I think my manas is me, sometimes I think inside that there is a soul. Bhagavan Krishna in the 6th chapter, I think, 6th chapter, 5th sloka, he talks about Uddhared Atmanatmanam Atmanam Avasadhet Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. The feelings, the conflict happens between my brain and my manas. If these two things join, and probably that joined one is what my Atma is. Immediately after doing something, saying something, I will say, I should not have told this. Who is that I inside me? Who is that I inside me? Who is criticizing my action, which just happened one few minutes back? Is it my buddhi? Yeah, I want to eat ice cream. Immediately my buddhi will say, don't have ice cream because last time you had a severe throat problem. Correct? So who is asking you to have ice cream? It is my manas. Who is stopping you to eat ice cream? It is my buddhi. I did not have my ice cream which I wanted to have, but night I got a beautiful dream in which I was eating ice cream. So what will happen? Tomorrow morning I will have that thought, I should have had my ice cream. Nothing would have gone wrong. Who is that who is telling you this way, that way, this is not correct, that is not correct? That is inside my soul. That is why Bhagavan Krishna says, all these confusions and conflicts in life is because you have not raised the superficial manas. Uddharet, lift it up. Uddharet, Atmanatmanam. You can see many times Atma word. Uddharet, Atmanatmanam, Atmanam avasadhet, Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu. My Atma is my relative, my Atma is my enemy. My manas is my enemy, my manas is my friend. My buddhi is my enemy, my buddhi is my friend. No problems in the world is a problem for me if I think it is not me. Who is inside that? The time we get involved into that, we are in problem. Everybody wanted to do. Yesterday I gave two informations. One, today evening I have got a Indian Scientific Heritage lecture. You can send a message, you can get a link. Very few people only asked for that. Second one, I gave my number and then said you can connect to me, get this book. Very less people only contacted. You have an intention. Udyamam is there. I want is there. See, I take my book sometime for MD seminar and then say that who want this book? Who want this book? Most of the people will raise hand. But then I'll keep it down and say, yeah, good enough. You are not interested really. Because we are so lethargic. To do action, we keep thinking a lot. No actions, only intention. Intention doesn't take anyone anywhere. Udyamam, planning is there. Number is given, I want to contact him. When? After the lecture is over, if you don't do immediately, I don't keep a single message unanswered on the end of the day. And I get thousands. This phone has got more than 1 lakh of contacts. This phone has got more than 1 lakh of contacts. I answer all the questions. Because I believe if I don't do it today, tomorrow is going to be more busy. If I postpone my today's job to tomorrow, that means what? I'm thinking tomorrow is going to be more leisure, which is not my life. Every day I'm adding. So what should be done? Udyamam is not enough. We all have an intention. Intention doesn't support you anywhere. Udyamam, immediate action is called as sahasam. Jump into action. Udyamam, sahasam, for which what you need? You need dhairyam. Udyamam, sahasam, dhairyam. That is not enough. You must know what to write. Buddhi. So why are you not acting? Because you have less buddhi, you have less of courage. Udyamam, sahasam, dhairyam, buddhi, shakti, parakramam. Parakramam means there are a lot of people who will say, what does it matter? How does it matter? Don't do it. Udyamam, sahasam, dhairyam, buddhi, shakti, parakramam. 6 qualities. Shadhede yatra vartante devam tatra prakashyet. Only in such places the God exists. God doesn't exist in temples. God doesn't exist by getting you puja. God doesn't exist by offering him something, because he doesn't want anything. What is that you give to a temple? Whatever you give into the temple, whichever is the priest or the mosque or the church, God is not requiring anything from you. You pluck something from the garden and say, this flower is by me. The flower is not by me. The flower is in the nature. We realize it is mine. That is the ego which we have. But anything is offered to God at the time when the offering, the priest will say, Vairagya siddhyartham samarpayami. Without any intention, this person is giving this. But why are you going and offering? With some intentions. So ultimately, the intention is what is a short-term benefit which you are thinking, but in a life, it's a long-term benefit. That is the bliss. So you think that this is what the cause, this is what the reason, but that is not the real reason, because we are less knowledgeable. So if you get into the highest knowledge, we understand my action, my karma is more important. That is why Bhagavan Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam mahamyaham. Ananyas chintayanto mam, without having any other thought process, be into action. It is not paryupasate. Many people interpret this saying, you come and pray to me, I will serve you. No. Without having any other thought process, what you think at a point of time, immediately get into action. That is what the law of cause and effect. The thought and the action. When I wanted to talk, the time I am thinking, I am talking. For some people, the thinking time and talking time, the thinking time and action time, there is a difference. And that difference is duality. If you do at the simultaneous time, that means you are an Atmiya Purusha. You are an enlightened person. The action is what is more important. Therefore, what happens when I am doing something, it is not that every time 24 hours, all the activity which I do is from an enlightened point of view. Not that sannyasins who doesn't construct houses. It is not that they don't buy cement, land, everything to make their ashram. But all this action becomes only a materialistic activity which they are doing, that also does with a big sankalpa. So what is important is my action has to be with a great sankalpa, then everything what I do becomes a devotional activity. So though I am in samsara, the cycle of birth and death, rebirth, all that what we have, when I do it in a yoga style, the path of union with the divine, the Purusha, inside me, all that what I do in the Prakriti becomes only a casual and natural process. This concept is what is being used in the wellness treatments in Ayurveda. If you don't understand this, only you understand the kashaya, the syrup and the massaging oil, that doesn't become Ayurveda. It is Veda itself, it is the knowledge, the ancient Indian system of medicine which emphasizes the interconnectedness of the body and the mind and the spirit. Understand, it's the interconnected of the body and the mind and the spirit, which understanding the whole natural nature around me. That is why Vata Pitta Kapha. distinctly understand what is the environment in which I am living. That is more important when I treat a patient. Then such an approach becomes a holistic approach. Any such holistic approach for wellness, recognizing this physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, social, and spiritual aspect, gives a very well connected, and the ultimate probably become the spiritual dimension. No Swamijis are being followed because he physically look great. Not that he is emotionally very close to you. Not that he is intellectually very acceptable to you, probably. It is not that he is a very highly social person. But there is a spirituality which cover up all these negatives in case if he has got something. So therefore, understand what is that we consider as a culture, as a fashion, as a practice which we have is only a short-term lived activity, but in a long term, the ethical living, when we understand, when I talk about the developmental activity which is happening, every developmental activity have got an imbalance in the nature. But as a human being, we cannot stop the development. So how ethical we become? So that I am not even worried about only my life, I am only worried about all the other life. If you realize it, the energy in me, the life in me is the same life which all the other Bhutas have. Bhutas means other than the human being. That is why we have in the temples what is called Shri Bhuta Bali. We give dana, dharma, food, feeding all the other animals, all the other creatures. Where to construct a temple, I made them to vacate. So I am supposed to give them something back. So you can see in the Vedantic philosophy, either it is the Buddhist, or it is a Jainist, or the yoga, or any part of the world where the deep rooted understanding of the nature is part of the philosophy, part of the psychology, part of the well-being. What is called a free will, not for me to live in this world, but for everyone. A consciousness which is not my consciousness, which is the consciousness of the whole universe together. The universal consciousness, the mindfulness, the culture, the karma activity which we are doing. Because we cannot be without karma in this world. The role of spirituality in understanding the physical, emotional, intellectual, social, spiritual well-being, not as independent entities, but understanding together as one single code of conduct. Creating that is what is the real essence of holistic well-being, and that holistic well-being is what is to be defined. If you have only a superficial knowledge, no additional considerations of audience, context, all that is not understood, the interdisciplinary approach doesn't happen. You only look at psychology, you only look at philosophy, you only look at science, only look at the neuroscience, only look at the eyes and nose and all the spare part of the body separate. You cannot be a doctor. A doctor is one who looks at the body as a whole, the life as a whole. And that is what is to be seen as wellness in this world. I think I spoke more than 20 minutes. That's good enough. I enjoyed yesterday the discussions more than my lecture. Probably I need a lot of good questions so that we could take it along for the next 1 hour or so. So thank you so much. Good enough? Or you can ask me what you want so that I can add more points.